How about you, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Auburn Live Show. This is the recruiting edition, also known as the Shriveled Pod. I am your host, Jeffrey Lee. I'm the senior recruiting editor at Auburn Live on 3. And today I'm joined by our badass recruiting analyst, Mr. Cole Pinkston. Cole, how the hell are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Just got done moving an old stove out of the wall, put a new one in, put the lamp part over the top with the vent and all that.
We're the hood.
Oh yeah,
the hood. Hey Cole, how does my mic sound?
Professional.
Really?
Absolutely.
I think our listeners should know that I've had this mic since the second episode. Unfortunately, I haven't turned it on. I didn't know how. It was plugged in. I was going, dude. I was holding this mic the whole time. You remember with Damari Austin? I was like, hey, had this mic in front of my face.
It was a good prop, though. I mean, it's great.
Okay, cool. All right, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. So yeah, Cole's got a little baby, newborn, right?
Yeah.
How many months?
He is 3.5.
3.5 months. He's also a handyman. He installs and uninstalls ovens, stoves.
Yep, you got to do what you got to do, right?
And hoods.
Yeah.
And that's what he does in spare time, because in his full-time job, which, this weekend, Cole, have you slowed down a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Needed to, didn't you?
Yeah. My eyes were getting crossed looking at the computer. So it's a nice little break there, but still doing it. We still got some stuff going on the boards as we're doing all that as well. So
we do, and what we're talking about is Auburn's huge, massive, ginormous recruiting weekend. Over the weekend when Alabama came to town, Auburn had, I don't know how many. I'm guessing at least 100.
I was told that mark went closer to the 150 mark. And I'm talking about players that have P5, Power 5 offers.
Legit guys.
Legit. I'm not necessarily saying they're all 4 and 5 stars, but they got Power 5 offers. So,
We're talking 2022 class. We're talking 2023 class. We saw 2024 guys there. And it was as impressive of a weekend, at least a game day list that I can remember. I'm not saying it's the greatest one ever, but it was certainly it would certainly be top 5 if I went back and looked.
Yep.
We saw, I think there were 6 official visitors. Jeffrey Imba, the top JUCO defensive lineman, is leaving today. Today is Tuesday, by the way. We're recording today, trying to get this up this afternoon, so it'll be current. Jeffrey Imba is leaving his official visit today. We saw him in Auburn Saturday. He's a top junior college defensive lineman. I think 24/7 has him top overall junior college player. Cole,
I think he's number 1 regardless of position.
Number 1 overall junior college guy. Big dude, right?
Tell you what, it's a safe bet if you're going to do that. I've seen him play. He's pretty impressive, but I think he's even more impressive in person. I mean, he stood out in the crowd. So, pretty good bet to have him as the number 1 guy.
He looks like a rugby dude. Like he's big.
He's an interesting character. Got some
cool cat, yeah.
Got some blue in his hair.
Yeah.
Can't miss him. I'll put it that way. You definitely ain't going to miss him.
Awesome dude, man. Got to talk to him before the game Saturday on the sidelines. He actually went out to the to midfield, or not midfield, but halfway to midfield. Met with Brian Harsin before the game. Not many people did that. I know Tyree West and JaDarian Rhym also went out there.
Along with some commits, it looked like.
Some other commits, right. So, and these guys were working, the commits were working. I know they were working Imba.
Yep,
very hard.
They're working, man. They are working. They're working everybody, dude. I don't know how it is at other schools. I don't cover other schools, but what I'm telling you is these guys are basically on the staff right now. These commits.
I can tell you since 2004 when I started doing this, I've never seen, and of course, social media wasn't back then, so I don't know what these guys were doing behind the scenes. But
that's true.
As far as publicly now, this is absolutely the most hip rah hoorah. 3 cheers for Alpha Ta. Grunt bunch that I've seen. I mean, especially Damari Austin. I mean, he has really taken on that leadership role of this class and getting these guys in. And hell, he was running the sidelines to you and me Saturday before the game, giving us little tidbits on what he was hearing and what he was thinking.
He was all over it. Him, Holden Gerner does a good job too. Doesn't get as much on that, but that dude's locked in. He made that clear last night on Twitter. He told all of us that he's good to go. No worry in the world. Fine, man. We're going to Auburn.
He's the quarterback in the class, folks. He's playing for a state championship this Friday night, I believe, in 2A in Georgia. The reason we were interested in his commitment last night was because Justin Hoaxson broke the news on Auburn Live that Mike Bobo will not be retained as Auburn's offensive coordinator. Little surprising, I will admit. I didn't think at all that he was completely safe, but I didn't know if I was going to, be chasing Mike Bobo's out on Monday after the Iowa.
The timing definitely is what I would say was the most interesting. Not so much of a shock that he's not coming back, but the timing. And maybe that's because they want to get somebody in before signing day. I don't know exactly why.
I think you've got to have some closure here. I don't think you can go 2 more weeks. Tomorrow is Wednesday. This is 2 week, right? 2 week. Is tomorrow Wednesday? Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow.
2 weeks from signing day. So you've got to have somebody in place fairly quickly, because Mike Bobo, and we talked to all the offensive commitments last night. Damari's locked in. Holden's locked in. I did not hear from Omari Kelly. That was the one guy I never heard back from.
Didn't hear from him. Didn't hear from EJ Harris, Eston Harris either. I never heard.
Yeah, and Drew Bobo, of course, Mike's son, the offensive lineman at Auburn High School, committed to Auburn. I talked to him earlier in the day, and Mike Bobo, Will Friend, had come and had lunch with Drew. Breakfast with Drew. And then Mike, of course, went on to Auburn High School, saw Powell Gordon, presumably EJ Harris. And then, of course, 6 hours later, his father's getting fired. But if you'll go back and remember, during his recruitment and his commitment, he was making a choice, and it didn't include his father. He was going to a school where if his father wasn't going to be there, he would be happy.
It seems like they really tried to work around the fact that his dad was there for a long time. The offer didn't come immediately. The offer came after he camped and had a good showing, and that was important to him.
And Georgia offered.
And Georgia offered after a good showing at their camp, right? Not much longer after that or before that, right in the same time period. So that meant something to him, that he goes, okay, well, obviously they think pretty highly of me if they saw me here perform and they said, okay, you have got an official offer, you can commit here, you could come here. So, maybe that pays off for Auburn in the end on this one. It didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was going to bother him last night, so I didn't go there with Drew. We'll see what happens with him.
Yeah. I expect to hear from Drew in the next 24 hours. I feel like he will either confirm or squash any doubts in his commitment. I don't have any worries about him. And maybe I should. I'm just saying, this is just gut instinct, folks. I haven't spoken to him or EJ Harris, but I think Will Friend's going to be big with both of those guys. I think this staff was almost recruiting in case something like this happened.
Yeah.
Mike Bobo is not the only guy these guys talk to.
That's correct.
Mike Bobo is not going to determine the depth chart next year.
I'll just say that too. Just my opinion. It just seems like I totally get. Look, I went and played football after high school, and to me, it was very important what the coaches I played for were. Always important. You got to have a good relationship with your coaches. But in big time college football, how often is it that a coach is at a school for more than 2 or 3 years? An assistant coach.
Very rare.
It's rare. It's rare. You shouldn't expect the coach to be there your entire tenure at a school. I just don't think you could expect that anymore. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
And that's why we always hear commit to the school, not to the coach. Commit to the school, commit to that depth chart, commit to the roster, man.
But look, and I'm not criticizing them for that. It's not easy to do that, because who are the ones that are recruiting you? It's the coaches, right?
Yeah, right.
And they give you the school. They tell you what the school's about. You get to go to the visits and all that. But nonstop every day, if you're getting recruited hard by a school, you're talking to the coaches every day. They're telling you, this is what I'll do with you. This is how you fit into my scheme.
Right.
So yeah, it's a tough deal. It's sort of a catch-22 you find yourself in.
I think one guy that Bobo leaving will hurt Auburn the most with is probably the guy they might need the most, and that's Antonio Williams, the 4-star wide receiver from Dutch Fork in Irmo, South Carolina.
And let's be honest about him. He got the offer that he was looking for from Clemson before that. I am not at all saying that Clemson locked him down. He came to Auburn. He made the trip all the way from South Carolina after being at a playoff game really, really late. He was a little late to the Iron Bowl, but he made it. That speaks volumes. I mean, he really appreciated the way Auburn's recruited him. They've done a great job with him. But you got Clemson right there, and that was going to be an issue regardless, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know stuff to say, but what that Clemson offer is going to – all right, our on-3 Clemson guys, Joseph Hastings is going to go by Antonio's practice tomorrow on Wednesday and get the scoop on him, kind of how he feels about Bobo, that Clemson offer, where his recruitment stands. We know his parents both went to – or his mom and his stepfather both went to Ole Miss, South Carolina, Clemson, right up the road. The pull to Auburn, in my opinion, was Bobo. I feel like Auburn's chances took a big hit with him, and honestly, I'm probably looking elsewhere right now to find Auburn's third wide receiver.
Yeah,
is that right?
Third, yes.
Yeah, Omari and Jay Fair.
Just me personally, I am not ruling out. There's so many DBs on the board right now.
Yeah,
targets for this class.
Oh, you about to get to Kobe Albert?
I was.
Oh,
that's just me personally.
Keep talking, brother. I'm right there with you, man.
I mean, he's got the skill set for it. When they grabbed him, it almost seemed like, okay, you're good enough for us to take and then work with you. Right now, safety telling you safety, and he tells us, that's what they talked to him about. But you're the kind of athlete that could go either way.
Dynamic,
so let's go ahead and get you in. Let's get you in and see what happens.
I actually wrote, and I think J-Head was on board with me here. We wrote on the corner of the message board at Auburn Live that I liked him on offense. Did you watch the senior film?
Oh yeah,
fire, man.
Skill set is what you need on offense. Look, he can play either. I think he's that kind of athlete.
Sure.
Really, the only knock against him, I guess you would say, would be his size. That seems to be what holds him back from being rated, higher maybe.
Sure.
But he is a 4-star with us at on 3, and that athleticism, in today's game, that usually is a big deal, having that kind of athleticism, and they'll certainly find a place for him. And I just think offense could be still considered for him.
I'm right there with you. Absolutely. We were talking about Powell Gordon. Could he move to the edge if Auburn couldn't fill that spot? This is kind of one of those deals where Kobe could play offense if Auburn can't fill that other spot. And this wouldn't be, this kid is an elite athlete.
Yeah.
He's an elite athlete, just from what I've seen. He might be a great defensive. I like to see the ball in his hands. I think he's a playmaker. He would be on both sides of the ball, but I'm all for it, Cole. I'm right there. Scoot over because I want in that boat.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Another big we had plenty of big news coming out of the weekend, but Saturday before the game, we saw Auburn finally extend an offer to 4-star running back Justin Williams, the former West Virginia commit. I think he's from East Paulding in Dallas, Georgia.
Yes.
That sound right?
That's correct.
He's been to Auburn 3. This was his 3rd game. And he's really been wanting that Auburn offer just from his body language and the conversations I've had with him. He really has wanted that Auburn offer. It came Saturday before the game, and I talked to him on the sidelines, and he was just gleaming. Gleaming. Is that the right word? Gleaming? All right. He was gleaming, dude. He was all smiles. I could count his teeth.
Very, very excited.
Love that kid. Love that kid. Now, what we did touch on a little later in the day was that, or after the game, I believe it was, is that Auburn still has Trey Citizen at the top of their board and really want him to tell them no before they move on Justin Williams. Trey committed from LSU. Was it Sunday?
Yep.
Sunday afternoon. It's afternoon. I know Auburn was planning on going for an in-home visit. I know Cadillac Williams was going for an in-home visit with Trey Citizen. That was the plan as of Sunday morning. And I have yet to confirm if that actually happened. I think Keith over at 24/7 said it didn't happen, which would make sense. Mike Bobo news coming out Sunday. I'm sure people, we knew about it, 4 or 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon. I'm sure Auburn knew about it the day before. So they were restructuring meetings, especially with offensive skill guys. So I would not be surprised if that happened. I certainly don't doubt Keith. But I did text. I asked Trey last night. I couldn't get him on the phone, but I got him through text, asking him if he knew what day they were coming, and he said no, he didn't. So that leads me to believe that they weren't there Sunday night.
Right.
So definitely want to keep an eye on there with Justin Williams.
Oh yeah, Justin Williams, and I wouldn't take my eye off of Citizen either, because that, I mean, between LSU. Besides LSU, the other school that was recruiting him the hardest from our perception was Auburn. So, and Texas A&M is also in the mix. Other than that, who else could it be? Obviously, now you're going to have other schools jump in the mix because he's such a highly rated guy. He's such a highly thought of running back. So, just my point is, Auburn's been there the whole time. We made that clear, on our boards and
the whole time.
Yeah. So
he came an official visit in June. Auburn's been stuck on him like glue.
Yeah, it would be kind of weird if Auburn was just automatically not in it now that he's not even committed to LSU anymore. So I think Auburn's there. What the deal is now, not sure.
You got Brian Kelly coming down from Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to try to lock him up. That was the only running back they had committed. Am I right on that?
That's it.
And he's a good one. So
damn good.
They will certainly turn up the heat trying to get him to, I know he decommitted, but stick with LSU in the end. And I've had a few people ask me, do you think they would take Citizen and Williams? I don't. I think they're going to take 2 running backs, Damari Austin and one other. And right now I'm leaning more towards Justin Williams. And I think if Williams, if they gave him the green light, I think he would definitely take it. So really, it just all falls on what happens with Citizen in the next couple of weeks. We'll keep watching him and see what happens there.
Yeah, just because I don't really love Auburn's chances with Citizen right now, I don't dislike them, but I don't love them. Yeah. If I were to make my running back prediction, the class would be Damari Austin and Justin Williams. Those would be my 2. But I certainly am not counting out Auburn for Trey Citizen. I told somebody on this on the board, had he come to Auburn like he had planned for the Iron Bowl for an unofficial visit and then decommitted Sunday.
Yeah, no, there you go.
I might be feeling differently, but he didn't. He's been to Auburn once. He came back in June. That was even before he committed to LSU. He was supposed to come back for the Iron Bowl. He did not. And Auburn still pushing for him, but I certainly like Auburn's chances with Justin Williams a lot more than I like them with Trey Citizen.
Yeah, at this time, for sure. Definitely like that better.
We had JaDarian Rhym.
Mm-hmm.
Rhym, right?
Correct.
That's what I've been saying. I heard somebody say Rhyme. I said, I don't think that's right, dude.
I think it was Damari Austin that told us.
Yeah.
But I've heard Rhym. I've heard it all. So let's go with Rhym.
He came up and said, "Did you hear that rhyme? Hear about Rhyme?" I was like, "What, Rhyme or Reason? I don't know, man. You mean Buster Rap or something? I don't know." So he was one of the guys who went out and met with Coach Harsin. Rhym came. He is a 4-star cornerback from Valdosta, Georgia, who was committed to LSU. Auburn has been on him like stink on shit since I don't know when. I mean, he's been high.
Yeah,
on Auburn's board.
Keep in mind, offered him back in February. I want to continue to make sure. A lot of people think that all these flip targets that they're working on right now are just coming out of nowhere. I promise you, they're not. I've tracked the offers all the way back to the beginning of the Harsin era. He's one of the first DBs to get one, so this is not new. Now the communication may have been ramped up more as of late, but that's because they felt they had a chance. And look where they are now.
I think his interest has picked up.
Definitely.
And as his interest has picked up in Auburn and he has become less interested in LSU, we started to hear his name a lot more. We started to see him visit. I think that was his third visit this season, or was that his second? I think he came for the Ole Miss game or Georgia game. One of those two, right?
Ole Miss, that the Ole Miss game. I think he might have been at the Georgia game too.
I think this was his third game.
I think so.
Well, either way, it was at least his second. He made it an unofficial visit. That way he could return December the 10th for an official visit. I think that's huge for Auburn, getting that last visit before signing day on December 15th. Got to like Auburn's chances. I think he was one of the guys Jamari Austin was feeling good about before the game.
Yep. He
Talked
was.
about Imba. Also, another JUCO guy that was on campus for an official visit, Chianti Scott, came down from Utah, Snow College, cornerback, originally from California. His mom lives in Las Vegas. She flew out here to be with him. And Beard, he had a really good visit. I talked to him on his way to the airport Sunday, after he got there. Oregon is in there as well.
Yep. Tennessee, are they?
Yeah, I think it seems like Tennessee and Auburn are after the same JUCOs. Like, and even Justin Williams of Tennessee is another guy, another school to watch. Justin Williams, they've made a big push for him there. Chianti Scott, Zach Etheridge is going out there to visit him in home on Wednesday. Etheridge has already been out there and saw him play in person. Now he's going back out there for an in-home visit Wednesday night, tomorrow night, and we'll see how that goes. I know Auburn wants an experienced cornerback, at least one, and hopefully I know they're hoping for a safety as well. They want some experience in that defensive backfield come 2022. Yep. Scott appears to be the absolute top target there on the outside. I thought one of the bigger visits in state for the high school kid was Khurtiss Perry, 4-star defensive lineman from right up the road in Pike Road. Cole, what you hearing on Khurtiss?
Well, I just noticed. I think it was last night or night before last, that one of our national reporters at On3, Jeremy Crabtree, had quoted me in his story about Khurtiss Perry, saying that, while most of the national media thinks Khurtiss Perry is going to Alabama, Cole Pinkston from Auburn Live thinks Auburn could make a move here with the official visit he has scheduled for the Iron Bowl. Well, you probably heard reported that he's named Auburn as leader. There's a reason why there's no predictions out for Auburn right now, because,
Alabama's still in it.
Alabama's still in it. He's going to take an official visit to Texas this weekend, or in the next week or so, whenever that is. So here's the thing on that one. I just look at how long just Auburn University, forget who the coaching staff was. Auburn has been after Khurtiss Perry for a very long time. The previous staff was on him. He's been coming to games at Auburn since he was in 9th grade. Now you get him on this official visit. He just raves about it, has an awesome time. I mean, the coaching staff follows him to his house. They have an in-home after that. It's just another great visit. Him and Nick Eason have hit it off very well. I'm not making a prediction on that one yet, because
a lot of things lining up.
No, definitely lining up. I don't feel confident in making a prediction yet, but I definitely like the way things are going for Auburn. That I can say. If
somebody stuck a 12 gauge to my head and said pick one right now, I'd pick Auburn. I wouldn't feel great about it, but that would be my choice right now.
Yeah, and there's a few guys right now that I would do the same for. I'd say, if today were signing day, I'd go Auburn. But, I hate to bring this up. It's not signing day, and I hate to bring this up. Much like Auburn in the fourth quarter in the Iron Bowl, there's still a lot of time left.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. You knew it. You knew it sitting there in the stadium watching that game, that there was a long way to go. That's exactly the point we're at with signing day coming up, with still 2 weeks to go. They just got to finish. Got to close the deal. They have to do that. And that's not the easiest thing. It's easier said than done, but they're sitting in a great position right now.
One of the best looking things that you saw in that Auburn-Alabama game was Auburn's defense, specifically the defensive line. You saw Derek Hall just have a monster freaking game.
And from a recruiting standpoint,
yes,
my goodness, it couldn't have come on a better day.
Because here's why. Not only did you have Khurtiss Perry there, not only did you have Jeffrey Imba there, you had Caden Story, the 4-star lineman who's already committed to Auburn. And then I'm going to give you this rundown of the freaking studs from the 23 class that were there.
Tyree West was also there.
Oh, Tyree West. I keep forgetting about him, man. And he, I remember because he's been very hush-hush when he comes to Auburn and everything. And I walk over to him. And I think you did the same thing. Hey, you want to keep this quiet? You want to do an interview? Hell no, I want to get it out there. I was like, okay.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Tyree West. So you've got Khurtiss Perry, Jeffrey Imba, Caden Story, Tyree West. Those from the 2022 class. From the 2023 class, you had Peter Woods, stud from up the road at Thompson.
Yep.
James Smith, stud from up the road in Carver.
Mm-hmm.
Tamarian Parker, stud from down the road in Phoenix City.
Yep.
Keldrick Falk, stud from down the road in Highland Home. You had Kelby Collins, stud from Gardendale. And you had Caleb Herring, who I wasn't familiar with until Chad Simmons wrote about it. Caleb Herring, the number 1 junior in the state of Tennessee, who's an edge guy, was there as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead.
You Hunter Osborne.
Hunter Osborne. Yes.
Yeah.
Hunter Osborne from Trussville. I guarantee you those 7 guys right there are all probably top 20. That's almost half of the top 20 defensive linemen in the 2023 class were there. And not only there, but they got to see Auburn's defensive line. I mean, dare I say, dominated.
You're right.
Those 4- and 5-star linemen from Alabama just dominated them.
Pass rush was good. They played well in the run game. Just think, if Auburn's offense was able to sustain a few more drives, they'd have had more gas at the end there. But
they were putt-putting, man. Oh, Kobe Wooden.
To the point that I've tried to make to a few people on our boards, and I hope I sound nice. Sometimes I don't. I read back what I said, and it sounds like I'm a jerk or something, but I hope I'm not coming across that way. I'm just trying to make the point that, hey, T.D. Moultrie's not coming back. You got Derek Hall sitting there who's got a choice to make because he has turned it on in the last half of the season. And he's got the perfect NFL frame, too. He'll test well. You've got
Colby Wooden.
Colby Wooden's got a choice to make, even though he's a redshirt sophomore.
Oh, is he?
He is, yeah. I believe
I thought he was older than that.
Well, he's a junior, really, but he had that freshman year got redshirt, I believe.
Well, he probably needs to come back.
He probably does, and really and truly, Derek Hall probably does too. But will they? I mean,
right?
Remember Jeff Holland?
Holland
is a great one to remember on that. He didn't get drafted, and he decided to go early, and probably looking back, maybe he stays.
Wing and a miss.
You just never know. You never know what they're going to do.
Tony Fair gone.
Tony Fair's gone. Marquise Burks is in limbo.
Yeah.
How about EQ Leota is another guy, and he's coming back, I think, but he's only got one more year left.
I like him. That was a huge addition there.
No doubt.
Him and Fair both.
You got a couple of guys, and even if some of those come back, they got a year left. You got to reload on the defensive line, and you got to do it anyway.
And I'm
how
curious,
much quality depth did they have anyway? They didn't have a ton of quality depth. I don't think magically somebody like Zykevis Walker is going to play every single snap next year.
Lee Hunter.
Well, you just don't know.
I thought both of those guys were good enough to get in the rotation, even if it was bottom of the barrel, right? And they did play a little, if I'm not mistaken, but I thought we would see a little bit more of those two.
Right.
But maybe that's just how Nick Eason rolls, man.
It could be.
But some younger guys, but we just don't know what we've got in them, right?
And the reason I say all that, Jeffrey, is because there was a new defensive line offer that went out today.
Yes.
I'm gonna butcher his name.
Enos
or Enis. Enis, something.
Just don't put a P in front of it.
Last name is cool. Sledge. Love that last name. Really cool. But he got the offer today, and we talked about him a few times on the board saying Nick Eason likes this guy, just decommitted from Baylor. Maybe keep an eye on this guy. Gets the offer today. I spoke with him briefly. He's pretty excited about that. I don't think that has anything to do with the guys we just mentioned, with Imba, Perry, West, some others in there. I really don't think Woody. I don't think it has a lot of significance on those guys. I think it's more so we like this guy.
I do too.
Been evaluating him, really like where he's at right now. Love his size. Got to see him in home, and now I'm like, okay, let's give him an offer.
Where's he from, Cole? Do you remember?
I believe it's Slidell, Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
Slidell. I may be wrong on it is definitely Louisiana, but I don't know if it was Slidell or regardless, he's a Louisiana guy. So, those guys usually turn out to be pretty good D linemen down there.
So in the past 3 days, we've seen at least 3 new offers go out. We talked about Justin Williams.
Yep.
We talked about Sledge. And then you had Jalen Farmer.
Yes.
Was he an offer or was he a visit? Oh, he was an offer and visit.
Both. He got the
big offensive lineman, formerly committed to Florida folks. And that's what we're talking about.
He tweeted that out maybe 2 hours after the game because I was on my drive home from the game. It wasn't long after when I saw that he got the offer. And I was told that, with Farmer, you got Inez Cooper as well, the in-state guy who
didn't see him there
at the Georgia. He wasn't there, but he was a guy that they're still looking at on the offensive line. I was told if this Farmer guy looks like we think he does, in person, if it gels, if it goes well, that we'll probably give the offer. Maybe that's the spot that we were thinking for Cooper. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And I don't know the number they're going to take, and I'm not even sure they've got a lockdown on that either. So
sure.
Just something that I'm looking at there. My point is that offer's really legitimate. I mean, there's something to that one.
He calls and wants to commit. It's a done deal.
I think so, yeah.
Whereas Inez Cooper may not be that easy.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. Just to make it simple.
A lot going on, a lot of offers going out. I'm sure those won't be the last ones. There are always going to be some guys coming out of nowhere.
Yep.
But there's just so much going on. And the thing is that Auburn's got 12 commitments, not counting Trey Donaldson, who we've talked about before on the show. We're not going to count him if Auburn recruiting Twitter account's not going to count him. He is a basketball signee. So Auburn's got 12. Maybe 10 more. So, there's a lot of, we don't know. And Auburn may not know. It may be, let's take as many of these great players as we can, or if we can only get 60% of them, then let's take let's fill out the remainder of the class and transfer portal. I think that's going to be a part of the filling the class, part of the recipe anyways. One of the ingredients of this class is going to be transfer portal, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
But how many does Auburn end up with 2 weeks from now on signing day? Are we talking 20? Are we talking 22? And if so, then you're talking about 8 to 10 more. And we've talked about all these guys in these different positions and how they're going to allocate and earmark these spots. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and I don't think let's just make a scenario here. Let's say that if you're calling it like a first one in the boat kind of thing because you have a certain number you have to sign, obviously there's a limit. You can't go above a certain number, and we're not exactly sure what that number is. But how many of the top guys they get could be the difference between them signing 20 or 23, 24 or 25, however many they can limit to. I don't think they're going to reach, 1. And 2, I don't think they're going to pass on somebody they really like just to get a portal guy. So it could go anywhere from that 20 to 24, 25 range, I think.
Yeah, I don't see Auburn turning down any of those elite guys. They're going to find spots for them. They've got to replenish this roster.
Yep, that's right.
We'll see how it shakes out. Coaches are on the road this week. We're going to see what Auburn does with the offensive coordinator position. I don't know of any. It seems to me like, and we were talking about this with our On3 liaison this morning, but it seems like Auburn is putting all their eggs in a basket, in the signing day basket. There are a lot of decisions are going to be made on signing day. A lot of things will shake out over the next couple of weeks. Justin Williams has got an official visit. He's probably going to take this weekend because I think he's got Tennessee set the next weekend. We know JaDarian Rhym's coming in the final weekend, and I'm sure they're going to be bringing in a lot more guys. We will, Cole. We need to. We'll be back maybe Thursday.
Yeah.
If some things shake out that we think might.
Yeah.
I think the OC will be filled fairly quickly. I'm just saying. I don't know.
I do too.
I don't know, but I'm guessing. I don't think Harsin makes that move without having some idea of what his next move will be.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're saying that in recruiting too. I mean, he doesn't waste time making arrangements for whatever is on the horizon. It doesn't seem like. So I'm feeling the same way.
We know that Auburn and Harsin are going to be upgrading their recruiting personnel. I think we're going to hear about that news in the next couple of days. I might have something more on that later this week, maybe on our next show. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and we'll try to get back on Thursday and catch you up. Before I go, I got some how about yous, Cole.
Okay.
First and foremost, dude, a big old how about you to freaking Darren Usher.
Oh, yeah.
Director of recruiting at Auburn. We talked about the list at the beginning of the show. That was impressive for a 6-5 team who had lost double-digit point leads the last. I mean, the momentum in Auburn season, the momentum was going down, and so for him to get these guys, him and his staff. I mean, he's got a staff of guys there. It's not just him, but Darren Usher and staff to get this group of visitors to that Iron Bowl, and then to have the team perform the way they did. Yep. Freaking grand slam. I mean, they missed home plate, so they're at the end. But I mean, it was a grand slam. They hit the ball out of the park. They just missed home plate because they didn't get the win. People, come on now.
Yeah.
All right. So big how about you to Darren Usher. Then I've got some more. We've had some really good posters, man. Some really funny threads. Some really funny subscribers. And we'll start off with rejects. Justin posted a note about D. Davis last night, and he said something wouldn't affect, but Bobo leaving would not affect his decision, Demetrius Davis' decision. And reject said, is being the fifth string quarterback. I can't even finish it. Well, that affects his decision. I can't kill me. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Brian. 9451. How about you, man? That dude's been on fire. Great poster. Scott G. Sweep the legs. There's a dude at Sweep the Legs, man. I love that name. At William Cutting, man. He's been a great poster.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. AUMD 9392. I think he's a janitor. AUMD. I'm just kidding. At Pop Quiz Man. He's a legendary poster. Came over to the board's been posting. We appreciate him. At Moon Weagle.
Oh yeah.
Big recruiting guy. So is WDE Braves. Like him. Hokey Pokey is you got WDE Braves, right?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Hokey Pokey. And I got AU Steeler. I got at OS Tiger. And then I want to give a special shout out to AU Tigers 07, man. I don't know how long you've been in the message board game, Cole, being not working, but as a fan, maybe.
Yeah.
But this dude knows his stuff, man. And we appreciate him bringing his knowledge to the corner. He is absolutely a 5-star insider, and he is exclusively at Auburn Live on 3.
Yeah, I saw he got a little shout out from some other board posters. Like, glad to have you aboard, my man.
Yeah.
So
yeah. He's legit, man. He's 5-star.
Bring him on.
And then my final two, man, these guys are getting shout outs just because of their names. I found it hilarious. First, we had Terry Bowden's tie. Yes. Are you too young to remember Terry Bowden's tie?
I am not.
Okay, cool.
Too young.
Terry Bowden's tie, and then the greatest name of all time, as far as I'm concerned, Frank Tolbert's 6th finger.
Boy, that is
great. That's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Great.
It's like Nick Cannon. It's hilarious. And then we've got go ahead, get in there, man.
Cody Canada 2.
Yes.
Number 1 about Cody Canada. Me and him mesh on some music. Anybody ever post anything about music? I'm jumping in because that's me. I mean, I got records on the wall behind me when we do the podcast. But also he brought some intel to the board the other day on a 4-star offensive lineman.
He was jacked about that, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a story on that too. It lined up everything, and I had talked to the guy about the same time, and yeah, good stuff, man. Anytime you got that, bring it.
Absolutely. And you know, if music is your thing, Cole, I believe Corn 666, who loves Christian and gospel music, obviously,
yeah,
is a big music aficionado.
He is.
I don't know if I said that right.
I jump in whenever he goes for that. So.
Final. How about you? They're more of a RIP. Ooh. RIP to Matt Daddy 31.
See ya.
Peace out, dude. And RIP to Obi-Wan. Yeah, Obi-Wan. Dude. That dude had to go. I mean, hey, you swung and missed.
Yeah.
He had Harsin going to Washington before Saturday. And I tell you what, if you want to go back and read that thread, AU Tigers 07 came in there and was like, no, none of this is conjecture. It's bullshit.
Good stuff.
Anyways, folks, we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to come back Thursday later this week. We're going to touch base on some other things. I'm sure in the next 48 hours, things are going to change, new offers. Visits are going to be set, in-home visits, in-school visits from coaches, maybe even have an OC to talk about.
Sure.
Otherwise, y'all always remember you're on the road. Stay out of the left lane. If I pass you on the right, you're an idiot.